What happened here? What in the fuck happened to this game? Listen, guys, Until Dawn for the PS4, one of my favorite PS4 games. It looked great visually, had a great story, was fantastic. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, a PSVR game. Had nothing to do with Until Dawn, really, but it was a great PSVR game with great controls and great graphics. This game here, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they would do this to me. And people who be looking forward to this. What's up, guys? This is JWAGS 412, and I don't do this very often, but without further ado, this is a 412 review.
Let's test your memory. Do you remember who I am? Do you know why you're here? It's too late to keep quiet.
So a little bit of backstory. Back in 2015, Supermassive Games, along with Sony Entertainment, released a game called Until Dawn, which is a story about 8 teenagers who go into some rich kid's cabin for a weekend getaway, and things go haywire, things happen. I don't want to ruin the game for you if you have not played it yet, but it was a fantastic game. It got great praise. It was a horror game, great visuals, great dialogue, great conversation tree, great. Everything was great about it, and they focused on something called the butterfly effect, right? This is what they're known for, the butterfly effect. Every choice you make impacts the choice in the future of everybody around you. So essentially, you decide who lives or dies. And this game, and Until Dawn, the original one, that seemed to work. Every action you made seemed to dramatically impact the story in one way or another. And that is not the case with this game. So let's start with the story. This game is a prequel to the first Until Dawn, which takes place 55 years before the events of the original. And all we know, we wake up, we are in a mental institution, we're trying to figure out who we are and why we're there. And while we're doing this, something goes completely wrong inside the hospital. That's all we know.
You're okay. Look at me. Everything is going to be okay.
Let's talk about the graphics, right? And I will say this, the graphics at times are some of the best graphics I've seen so far on the PSVR, undoubtedly. Some of these scenes when the lights are on, it look fantastic. From the floors to the outside snow to the weather outside, everything looks fantastic when you can see when the lights are on, when it's not dark. Remember, this is the closet from the first memories we were in. Oh, this looks fantastic. In VR, especially look at that floor right there. That floor looks waxed. Looks like someone buffed the shit out of it. But this looks good. The graphics look very good in here when it's light like this. I like it. Oh, I feel like putting my elbow up on this ledge. I keep trying to, but it doesn't work.
Almost peaceful. I used to think I'd spend the rest of my life on this beautiful mountain. I just thought I had a lot more.
Jacob Walker said, "Oh my God."
I shouldn't even be here.
Does look peaceful out there, huh?
Here I am, eating cockroaches to survive.
Yeah, fucks that.
You must think I'm disgusting.
So as I said, the graphics for the most part are pretty damn good. Some of the best I've seen so far when it's light. Now the problem is, when this game is dark, it's hard to see shit. You can barely see anything at all, even with your flashlight, and it is very annoying. Besides that, the character models look, for the most part look great, even if they do look a little lifeless at times. But for the most part, I did feel pretty immersed in this world.
Yeah. I'm worthless. Huh? Oh, it's just you. Look, I'm sorry about hitting you. Things are...
Now this was pretty cool. When I walked out here, I'm like, oh shit. It looks, look at it. It looks crazy. Now it is too fucking dark, and they're making it this dark, I think, to make up for some of the, I'm sure VR is very complicated. It's very graphic intensive, shit like that. I'm sure it's hard to manage, but fuck, I want to see more of this. Now, yeah, you can do the flashlight, but like, this looks awesome. I wish I could see it like even lit up. This thing would be crazy. Okay, now let's talk about sound design. Now, for the most part, they nailed the sound. Everything from the floors creaking, to the building creaking, to the sound of the wind, to the voice of the characters, down to every last detail, footsteps, snow, everything else. For the most part, they nailed the sound pretty well. I will give them that. The gameplay, or lack thereof. Now, I went to this game knowing there wasn't be too much gameplay as far as me fighting people or fighting monsters or anything too much. Really, barely walking around. It was mainly just talking to people. Choosing decisions, kind of like the first Until Dawn. You didn't do too much walking around, too much gameplay involved, more interactive cutscenes and things like that. I knew that going in. I expected that. I was expecting to get immersed in this world.
Endless stream of patience for old Abe to push around. To the presidential, of course. Wouldn't want to be late for your spa treatment.
Good morning to you.
Besides having these conversations, they're supposed to determine how the story flows, which they do not for the most part. Other than that, you'd be walking very slowly from point to point, following people, and not too much happening in between. This is where I see the problem. If you're not talking to somebody in this game, you're walking very slowly to another point, and in between there's not a lot to look at. Now, the vast majority of the story that you collect from this game comes from memories. You find certain items that are glowing, you pick them up and look at them, and it shows you a very glimpse memory into who you were before you got to the asylum, or who you were before you were a patient.
Well, looky, chicken cookie. Bragg said the treatment would be kicking in. Slow and steady wins the race.
Right this way.
That, for the most part, is what you'll be doing gameplay-wise, just talking to people and walking from one point to another. There's no running away from animals or creatures or people. There's no hiding mechanics here like in Outlast, nothing like that. Walking from one point to another, looking around, and not being able to see too much. So in the gameplay department, besides the conversation trees, very disappointing. Yes, Eric. It comes with the base game. Okay. This should piss me off of this game. The fucking prompt. Am I like out of the fucking tracking area or what?
Come on, the door.
Fuck you.
Help me with the beam.
I'm not getting a prompt for anything, asshole. No, Eric. Holy fuck with this. Now let's get this out the way. Nobody can sugarcoat this. The controls in this game, for motion controls, for the move controllers, are god awful. They have a hard time tracking your hands. It's not just my camera, guys. I played in plenty of other games in VR. I'm playing Skyrim VR, and it's flawless. The way they have you move and point and to where you want to go in the flashlight, all together is a goddamn catastrophe. It does not work well for this game, which is surprising for a game that does not require very much movement or precision movement or quick reflexes or anything like that. It doesn't require that. So the fact they couldn't get that right is very baffling, especially considering the fact that they did Until Dawn Rush of Blood so well, the one with the roller coaster shooter. So that was very confusing for me. I used it for about 15-20 minutes and said, fuck this, I went back to the DualShock 4, but even on the DualShock 4, it is not very fluent. So that, for the most part, is the game in a nutshell, and I did not want to spoil anything for anybody. I didn't go too deep into it as far as the story goes, in case somebody wants to play it in the near future or down the line when it's a little cheaper. But we gotta get this shit out the way. This is shit that makes my fucking blood boil. So, When I first streamed this thing, I played for, I think, about an hour and 10 minutes, and I stopped and I came back to it next day, and I decided to stream it. Well, it only took me about 30 more minutes to beat this shit from that point. So, all in all, this game is an hour and 40 minutes. This game is less than 2 hours from start to finish, and that is if you're taking your time. What in the fuck? That is unacceptable for a $40 title. Yes, this game is $40 US, and this game can be completed in less than 2 hours. Now, people want to say, oh, you have to play it multiple times, multiple playthroughs. Well, I tested that theory. I beat the first time being a male, and I chose a certain actions that I would choose myself. Next time I went through as a female and chose the exact the option opposite of what I chose last time, and believe me, it was the exact same goddamn game from start to finish for the most part. The same train, same conversation, same reactions from characters, with a few minor, very minor differences, and a slightly different ending that makes all about 2 minutes of the fucking total game. So even all in all, if you want to do both, if you want to play it through twice and make a different decision each time, this game is still less than 4 hours. Less than 4 hours. No. And then even both endings were disappointing. I understood it once it was over. I understood what was happening. And you will too if you played the first Until Dawn game. But what it boils down to is the story mode is extremely disappointing, especially for a game where the story mode has to carry it. There's no additional game modes here. There's no multiplayer. There's no additional there's no game modes at all. It's all in the story. So once it's beaten, once you're done with it, it's done. It has no replayability. So for $40, even if you want to include both playthroughs, the game is still less than 4 hours. No! Fuck no! This is setting a dangerous precedent for these PSVR games where they feel like they don't have to up the ante, or they feel like they don't have to give us a full, complete, worthwhile game just because it's VR. Listen, I love VR, but I don't care. Just because I can look around and shit or do motion controls does not mean you can charge me $40 for a 3-hour game. No, it fucking doesn't. So Supermassive Games, hold down for this one. This game left me with nothing but disappointment, from the controls to the gameplay to the story to the length of the game. So overall, the final verdict for me for this game is a fucking 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 average, and that's being generous. The only reason it gets a 5 out of 10 at all is because the graphics, for the most part, are some of the best I've seen on PSVR to this date. I implore you guys, if you are interested in this game, if you're interested in horror games, hold off. Just hold off on it. Wait till it goes down in price, because trust me, it's going to go down quick. This game was very disappointing. It was not very scary even, besides a few jump scares here and there. It did scare me a little bit. Just a quick little brief jump scare. This game is not worth its asking price. It's not. I would wait until this game is $20 or less. Even at $20 is possibly pushing it. Guys, this game is 3 hours long if you're taking your time. What the fuck? I'm getting flashbacks to that Metal Gear Solid demo. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, guys, that's it for this time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit. I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.
Are you fucking kidding me? Well, this is turning into an angry rant right now. Okay, guys, let me tell you what. You know how much time I put in this? You know how much time that was in? It took me 3 fucking hours! 3 hours to beat this! 3! $40! It was whack as fuck! The coolest shit that happened is the thing you guys saw while I turned around, the dude was there. Or that monster was there. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now they're gonna say like, oh, it has multiple playthroughs because different decisions you make impact the story. You know what? I'm going through this again. I'm gonna play this again. I'm gonna go through the beginning part. I'm gonna make different choices and see how it affects this game. It better be a whole other goddamn. I better go somewhere completely on the other side of the map. Better have a different goddamn ending. So what happened? Who was I? That is fucked! I was gonna make I'm reviewing this definitely now for you guys who haven't seen this. 3 hours! I'm gonna quote Angry Joe here. Less than 4 hours! $40! This fucking camera right here. Thank y'all for coming, whoever was here.